we're going to get started because here's the thing is there are so many different ways to raise money when it comes to real estate. And I want to make sure that we kind of cover each of these things individually. One of the ways to raise money in real estate is by private lending. So there's a lot of people out there that want to, might have the cash and want to earn an interest rate. So, maybe they're getting 3-4% on their mutual funds, or they're getting 0.05% in their bank account, and they want a different way to make a return on their money. So they might lend it to somebody and say, hey, I would like to get 8, 9, 10, 12, 15% return on my money. And so that's in the form of mortgages, essentially, or private lending. So instead of going to the bank to get some money, you go to somebody private and they lend it to you at a specific interest rate. That's private lending and essentially how it works. So that's one way that a lot of people use to raise money in real estate. Obviously, joint venturing, which we've been talking about all month, another way. So instead of getting an interest rate, a joint venture partner, a money partner, someone that invests their money in a deal, instead of getting an interest rate on that money, they typically are getting an equity position. So if the property goes up in value, or if the mortgage gets paid down, or there's cash flow on the property, now they're taking advantage of that and they're getting a percentage of all of those types of gains. Okay, so that's the difference between private lending and joint venturing. Okay, let's keep going. So another way that people use their money in real estate, or you could raise capital in real estate, is by using other people's RRSP money. So that is registered money with the government, which means you get a tax break on it. Okay, and that money, the government of Canada says, yeah, you can use your RRSPs to invest in real estate. The key is it has to be arm's length. You can't use your own RRSPs or TFSA on a property that you also own, that you're gaining equity in. You can't do that. You can only invest your RRSPs in somebody else's. Arm's length, that means they're not a family member, they're not related to you. This is a business decision, and that's what the government wants you to make. If you do that, though, you can use your RRSPs to invest in real estate, as long as it's not with a family member or a property that you own personally. Jen asked a question, how does one use private lending money to close on a deal? Doesn't the money have to be in your account for 90 days before closing? So sometimes, Jen, people will use the private money, great question, by the way, to do the renovation, for example, on a property. So maybe the idea is, I'm going to use private lending, and what we're going to do, Crystal in our group, in our Ignited group, does this all the time. So she will use private money to fund maybe the down payment for a specific period of time. She might use private money, or somebody else might use private money to fund the entire purchase. Okay, and then the renovation, and then refinance, pay all of that back, and now you're into the property for very little money down. Okay, so that's one of the ways that it can be done. Okay, Crystal, thank you for commenting. Private lending is how I fund my micro flips and the acquisition portion of BRRRR projects. There you go. Of course, one of the biggest ways that you get money from someone else, you raise capital so that you can invest in real estate, is by using banks. They give you mortgage, in some cases 80%, in some cases more than 80%. For example, the CMHC MLI Select program, you can finance more than 80% if it's a multifamily type property. So bank mortgages is, again, someone else, other people's money that you're using to buy your real estate with. Okay, so these are some of the different ways that you can raise money to buy your real estate.